There's
serious, and
a
the girl
hacker in this
confirms,
lobby?
promising. Everyone
Wait,
thought he
where'd
would
he
be
go?
cured, but honestly, he no longer counts on that.
Where'd he go?
Even so, he doesn't want to die without having
He was
truly
flying.
lived. He wants to become someone of value. He doesn't
go
want to
up
lose his
somewhere?
life being
Where'd he
useless.
go?
Boy goes into crisis.
Oh,
Suddenly,
don't tell
he
me I
spits
was too
blood.
late
He
to
starts
report.
choking on the blood. The nurse runs toward him.
Oh,
He
look, he right
realizes he's
there,
having another
see?
crisis,
He's
but this
flying.
time it must be the end. The nurse yells at him that it's okay, and that help is on the way.
Look.
The boy falls to the ground.
Bro's
He has no
literally
life.
flying.
A deer appears, and
They're
someone points an
cheating.
arrow at it.
They're
The creature
cheating.
has an eye on its forehead. It is about to be hunted. Then an arrow hits its butt. Monsters were responsible for this. They approach the prey happily. The boy watches it all and doesn't understand where he
Little
is. He
cheater,
looks at
bro.
two strange forms and wonders if those are his hands. Then he questions whether he's alive. He remembers everything. He was sick and spent his life in the hospital. He had a family and took his last breath in the hospital room.
I just realized this was playing. Oh! That scared me. Anyways, yeah, bro, this guy was hacking. He's over here flying. Look, he just went somewhere. He was right here. And then oh, yeah, he's right there. Look at that, bro. Look at him. He's clearly cheating. Why do I look like this? Hello? This is a new thing. This is from now on. This is actually my main. This is gonna be my main account. Ouch. So basically, what I'm doing here is I'm starting over. I think she's talking. I just can't hear her. Oh! I forgot my thing was cut off. But anyways. You're a hacker, bro. Get him. Hacker, bro. Hacker, big eats all the crackers. Hey. But anyways, let's go back to, let's go to a different lobby. Bro, let's do a transition. Ready? Here. Two. Hold up. 3, 1. Sorry, I meant to say was.
So nothing amazing
Hello,
happens.
guys.
He starts to get desperate and
We're
wonders
in
what
a
he's doing
different
wrong.
lobby
Freddy
now.
responds that he lacks imagination and needs to tell the magical element when to activate. Magic is a skill learned in the first year, and he should already be used to it. Miguel tells his friend not to argue with him when he's feeling down, and asks how he can outline the fireball he wants. Freddy asks if he doesn't know how to shape the fireball without the template and says magic can't be maintained like that. Then he says that if Miguel can't do it, he'll do it himself, but Miguel says no. He extends his arm and shouts that he's so frustrated he's going to burn those bodies using magical equipment. Freddy is startled and says that it's a waste of magical power, telling him not to do it. This time, a gauntlet appears out of nowhere. Miguel casts a fireball using the gauntlet. The goblin's bodies burn. He smiles and says he's a natural-born mage and really good at it. At this rate, he'll soon reach rank S. Freddy says if he keeps shouting, he'll attract more monsters. Several goblins begin to approach and she says, "Here they come." Miguel screams in fright. With both hands on the ground, Freddy uses the magical equipment. Roots come out of the soil and hit the goblins, trapping them by the necks. Miguel uses his firepower to finish off the monsters. He smiles and says that was dangerous. Freddy says she's tired. It seems that magical equipment consumes more magical energy, but at least he still has enough magical power for them to return home. Freddy comments that she prefers magical equipment the armor type and the boy mocks her, saying there's nothing that can be done. Then they start their way back home. That was a good practice before the spellcasting test. Our hero watches the pair and wonders if they're students. Maybe there's a city nearby. More than anything, he got important information from those two. Things like magic exist in that world. Magic is created by incantation and magic circles. By the mage's imagination and consumption of magical power, and it causes a specific physical phenomenon. On the other hand, magical equipment varies from person to person. It's a skill defined at birth, and the magic consumption varies with each individual. Apparently, the magic circle is a system that works by itself. Shu thinks about what they mean by magical power, and concludes that maybe he can use it too. It's worth trying, so he decides to test casting a fireball to incinerate the remaining bodies. He wonders what incantation is and thinks that, according to Takemitsu Osamu's memories, there are only fairy tale mages as references. Imagination. He needs to think about what physical phenomenon he wants to create. He needs to name the magical element for the incantation. Shu remembers when Osamu used to study, and thinks about water. He has knowledge about what it's made of. The only thing Takemitsu Osamu mastered was all he could do was learn. The boy closes his eyes and tries to remember. Ionized covalent bond of hydrogen and oxygen, enthalpy calculation, assignment of atmospheric pressure parameters, and liquefaction of water vapor. Calculate the entropy of atmospheric pressure and humidity to compute the state of water. The water particles that appear in space join into one. The sphere is in its natural state when the interfacial energy between water and air is at its minimum. Shu notices a magic circle is appearing on its own. He forms this circle while thinking about chemical concepts of the formation and existence of water. Water comes out of the circle, but its shape is not stable. Maybe that means not enough imagery. He remembers Freddy talking about imagination and mental imagery. The boy thinks about when he played with festival gifts. Something called a water yo-yo. He was really young back then, and he was really happy to receive the yo-yo. In front of him, a ball of water appears. Just like with his life-absorbing ability, the energy inside his body helps push him to do what needs to be done. He tries to move the ball, but it falls to the ground and dissipates. He needs more magic circles to throw it in a direction. More complex commands require more complex imagery and incantations. If he understands more about it, it will be a trump card that will be useful in the future. 3 months pass. Someone comments that they really don't like that place. It's a group of students. One of them asks why they don't do the implementation training somewhere else. The girl replies that if he's scared, he can leave. Jazz says he'll follow them because he wants to see Alice's new magic. The girl tells him not to overdo it, then asks him to use his detection magic to find out if there are any demons around. She wants to test if her ability can be applied to monsters. Jazz lowers his head and uses detection magic, and he finds something minus 50 meters ahead, a humanoid ghost, high-rank spirit. A girl with glasses gets scared and says she doesn't remember ever seeing something like that in the forest. Jazz says they should attack, and Alice agrees. That's the perfect moment for a test. She places her hands on the ground and uses her magic of roots and vines. It's the entangled ivy, which captures the ghost they found. The girl with glasses gets very emotional, and Jazz says Alice is so amazing, She can even activate a level 2 circle on the first try. The boy grabs a magic dagger. Shu is trapped in the entangled ivy. Jazz runs toward him and shouts that now they just have to finish him with his magical equipment. Our hero stares him deep in the eyes. Then a magic circle appears in front of Jazz, catching him by surprise. Out of nowhere, he is thrown far away. Alice gets worried. The girl with glasses questions what kind of magic that was. Creatures like that should be able to use magic. Alice says it seemed like a poorly aimed but precise magic trick. Activating a magic circle without delay is impossible for a mere high-ranked spirit. Shu begins to free himself from the entangled ivy. Then he prepares to attack the students. Alice throws herself on top of the other girl and shouts her to be careful. An explosion happens. Shu approaches the broken glasses on the ground. The two girls are lying on the ground. Our hero comments that he incapacitated them. But this is problematic. He had never been attacked by a human before. The two kids from before also wore clothes like those. The difference was that these were hostile to him. Shu wonders if they wanted to end his life. Behind him, Jazz raises his dagger. He shouts, furious for Shu to get away from Alice. Shu looks at the boy with pity and concludes that if he wants to annihilate him, he'll have to do the same. Then he absorbs his life force. Unlike the monsters, he wondered if anyone ever took human lives. Nothing changed. He feels nothing. Jazz is on the ground. He looks at Alice one last time. Her body is already lifeless on the ground. Jazz wonders why this is happening. Shu approaches. He kneels beside the boy and says that Jazz was the one who started it, so it's all his fault. Tears stream down his eyes, and his life fades away. Shu thinks that if a student has died, the educational institutions will surely make a fuss. It's just a matter of time before they find out. He flies away. He can't stay there anymore. He needs to find another place to stay. Night falls, in a city surrounded by walls. There is a huge building. Two girls talk about the story of a body found in the forest at the end of the day. People discuss how Alice was promising and conclude that she was probably trash, and it was their fault for going into the forest being so weak. Someone slams the table and asks why. Why would such an excellent mage from that school lose her life in a forest with only low-ranked monsters? An old man asks a woman if it's her fault for not supervising, and she replies that the forest isn't dangerous. Another says they need to